In order to do an export of your purchase orders out of RMS, click on Utilities, PO Invoice ASN, and I wanted to point out that in the Help, under UT for Utilities, you have the PO Invoice ASN section that tells you exactly what you would need to do in order to set up an export of your purchase orders for your ERP system. Here, under PO Invoice ASN, you have a cross-reference. This cross-reference has to be set up in order for you to be able to export, simply because your customer number in your ERP system needs to be entered in here. So this is the RMS ID, and this is your ERP system customer number for that retailer. You can fill in a ship via, you can fill in terms, you can fill in any of this information, and it will export out when you export your purchase orders. If you click on defaults, this is the information that comes back into RMS from an import from your ERP. So you can set up the different retailers here. I'm going to go ahead and just do a search. And I'm going to set up DSW. Okay, remit to. A lot of this information, you don't have to populate all this information, but the ones that are bold, those are the ones that usually are filled in. A lot of this information is not in your ERP, and it does, most retailers do require this information back. Days en route or estimated days en route, that'll take your date shipped of what you're importing that date shipped plus 4 in this case, because I'm using the estimated days en route of 4. Okay, so make sure that you always set up the cross-reference and the defaults for the different retailers that you will be importing and exporting. Okay, now to export, you've got an export tab and you've got an import tab. So here it's saying that you're going to create both a header and an item file. Okay, you got header and item. Okay, if you want to do a combined file where you only export one text file that has the header and the item, go ahead and just click combined. Next, you're going to want to assign a path of where you want this text file to go. Okay, it automatically comes up in my data directory. I'm just going to call this export to ERP. Okay. Here, and each one of these tabs, you do have to put in the path and the name of the file. Okay. So before I save this, I'm going to also mention that all of these fields are set to export. If your ERP accounting software does not need all of these files or will reject if you send all of these files, you can go into column setup and take out all the fields that are not required coming out of RMS. Okay, you can go all the way down. Now reference number is grayed out because that's a mandatory field. That reference number has to go out on the export, and it will also come in on the import. That's just a mandatory field due to it has to match up with what's in RMS. Okay, after you finish filling out the export, go ahead and save it so that each and every time you don't have to go in and do the same exact thing. So I'm just going to say export orders, and it's an INC file. Okay, you're going to do the same exact thing with the import. So if we want to do combine so that you only have one file coming in with the header and item information, and then check if you're bringing in the UCC box information, it'll give you a separate tab for that. Okay, I'm going to uncheck that for now. I'm going to import from, and you're going to tell it what file you're importing from. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save, and this is import invoices. Now each and every time, in the same way with on the import, you can choose which fields to bring in and which do not. Okay, and you can just save it so that each and every time it'll automatically come up with this format. Okay, so on the export tab, now that I've got everything all set up, all I have to do is click on the run. Okay, and it is complete. Now you'll be able to grab this file and bring it into your ERP. Import, same idea. When you bring in invoices into RMS, you can click on the preview. I don't have a file out there, and then you can click on the run and it'll bring in the information. That completes the PO Invoice ASN import and export.